Hello everyone, Brad Johnson here, and welcome to another episode of Downloads from Sirius. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Adronis in, and what we're going to be talking about in this episode are the mechanics of Incarnation. So there should be a very interesting theme, interesting topic to explore. So I'll go ahead and bring Adronis through, and we will begin this episode. We are here at this time, and we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis from Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this particular broadcast being brought forward through your internet collective consciousness. We have been asked by the conduit to speak about the mechanisms of incarnation, about what incarnation is all about how souls are able to go to particular planes and incarnate within specific bodies contained within specific densities. The whole idea is that incarnation is by invitation only. That's how it operates, that's how it works. Spirit, in that sense, is looking to invite its own intention together with working with spirit on a different level. That spirit that exists in communicating with that other spirit on a different level is basically sending out that invitation or accepting that invitation from that other particular spirit, if we were to put it in this way. You could also refer to it as entity and spirit in regards to avoiding confusion. The whole idea in regards to the game of incarnation is that any experience that one wishes to explore through their own, shall we say, incarnate attempts, their experiences together, and through the permission that is being brought forward, is then able to, shall we say, instantaneously, from the entity's perspective, incarnate upon the planet in regards to that form. The whole idea is that if we were to slow down the instantaneity in regards to what you would understand as linearity, there are a number of things that are done in order for one to literally incarnate upon the plane. You would understand this as one's own soul agreement, or one's own soul contract, or spirit contract, or entity contract as well. For example, if one particular entity contained within the astral realm was looking to incarnate upon Earth, that they had been invited by Spirit to incarnate upon this world, and they have then accepted that. What they would do is that they would work together in contingency with a monadic consciousness, the monadic consciousness of the planet Earth herself, relating to the roles and the audition that has been fit suitably for that particular entity to join the grand puzzle of planet Earth. If we're looking at this particular example relating to this entity incarnating as a human being, then again, all of these particular forms of monadic consciousnesses that represent the overall collective consciousness of the Earth works together with this entity in regards to arrangement. Arrangement comes together in certain specificities relating to the matchup of synchronicity. Everything happens in divine timing. So when the entity themselves decides to incarnate upon the plane, and they have been able to successfully, shall we say, program out their own soul contract, they are then, upon the 49th day of inception, able to incarnate within the body of the baby. Day by day, it continues to grow. Day by day, it continues to nurture itself. Day by day, it begins to patternize itself in regards to the palette that the spirit is able to utilize in regards to the essence of its own appearance. So again, utilizing the form of the mother and the father and other, shall we say, ancestral hereditary DNA states, it is able to utilize that palette to program its own body. The synchronicity pertaining to the mother and the father and the child are all synchronistically arranged. It is all part of mutual arrangement. They all decide to work with each other. That's the whole idea. Now, there are certain entities that are able to once again work within certain family lines to which they have been a part of, perhaps in what you would understand in previous linear-based experiences, incarnationally. There are also other particular entities who have never incarnated on planet Earth again that are also coming into the picture for the very first time, and that they have synchronistically arranged a particular bondage together with this family line in regards to their genetics, in regards to their DNA, and being able to work with what is available to then define their own archetypes of energy that they wish to experiment with. When you're looking at the idea of karma in that sense, to the degree of how karma is utilized in regards to how perhaps one child may have a particular dysfunction or a particular quote-unquote disorder, this is simply arranged in regards to spirit. That spirit is very, very committed at this time, shall we say, pertaining to actually resolving a matter that has been carried for lifetimes. In order for this matter to be resolved through this particular point of incarnation, there would need to be this example of a particular dysfunction that has been assigned to the child in order for them to make the commitment they feel is necessary, prevalent to the experience that follows, in order for this particular experience to come forward. It may also be a work in progress, that they may still not get it within this particular life, and it may still be other lives until that particular dysfunction that they have simply created, that malnourishment or that particular imbalance, however it is portrayed in physical reality, is continuing itself in regards to that loop. So again, it all depends upon the soul contract. Here's the thing, none of you have identical contracts. You're all different. You're all unique. You will always have something to work with in your own divine way, regardless if it is something of a similar dysfunction or similar imbalance. You're all bringing it together in different ways. So, this is the general idea, that incarnation is simply granting the ability for spirit to express itself. That's it. That's really all there is. The purpose upon the planet is whatever you consider it to be subjectively. There really is no incarnate purpose other than the purpose that you subjugate yourself to, because spirit really doesn't care about purpose. All it's really doing is allowing itself to immerse its own incarnational body in this form and have these experiences. Again, there can be certain forms of these imbalances that are brought forward to heighten certain experiences. Spirit always looks at life objectively. It does not always feel that it is caught up in the drama through its own incarnational body, feeling that, oh my goodness, this is really going to be very depressing if I have a very bad leg, or if I'm not able to lift my hands up properly, or if I feel that I have some type of mental barrier. Oh, poor me, this is not going to be so good. Maybe I shouldn't do this. The spirit doesn't think that way. The conscious self thinks that way. The spirit simply sees this as an opportunity of experience, to continue to experience itself in these ways through the facets of creation. So, the only being that's really attached to this is the program of the conscious self, of the ego. The spirit doesn't care. So again, your particular missions, your particular purposes on this planet are going to be important based upon your validation of doing so as an incarnated being. That's how it works. Now, there may be some other questions in regards to stating, well, if there is a essence, let's say, that is having an incarnation upon the very first time on planet Earth, is it true that they need to go to the very bottom rung of the ladder, perhaps becoming first density life forms, perhaps being second density life forms, and working their way up? Is this what certain soul essences have to do? The answer is no. The whole idea is that if you fit the part in regards to what you are looking to become in this way, that will then become your incarnation. Now, there may be some of you saying, well, Adronis, I have heard that there are certain forms of practices needed in order for certain beings that needed to come from first density to second density to third density to fourth density, etc., and needed to work their way up the ladder. That is true, but also understand that all perspectives are now. And also understand that that is not applicable to all beings. Because, again, understand, there are human beings that represent your new children on your planet that have never set foot on planet Earth ever before. Yet they are here. Simply because they fit the part. They were able to, shall we say, pass the audition. They were able to create their soul contracts with the monadic collective consciousness of planet Earth, and they are working their way through this life in regards to the compatible experiences that they prefer in regards to what was acceptable to the collective consciousness to come together in sync. So, not all beings in that way are meant to, shall we say, bring themselves into the first density, second density, third density ladder. Those particular properties have already been established. What many of you get confused about is that there are certain planets that are deadlocked in regards to what you would understand as linear-based timelines that can only function in regards to open-based densities. That's basically stating that at one point in your grandest time of ancient history, your world was a first density planet, and only first density life could apply itself on that surface. The only incarnation that was available for spirit to express itself was in a first density phase that had then been surpassed in regards to the second density realms coming upon your planet that then enabled the ability of vegetation and wildlife, plant life, animal life upon your planet that then created an open density pertaining to experience for first and second density beings to come upon your world. Then, of course, third density life was established for sentient human-based consciousness, self-based consciousness, we shall say, to bring itself onto your world. That had now become an open density. Now, fourth density is becoming unlocked and is now becoming an open density to be explored. This basically means that spirit that is able to be applicable and vibrationally compatible with your collective consciousness is able to choose whatever it wishes contained within those fourth density structures from what you would understand right now as your linear time-based progression. That's how it works. That's how it functions. Are there particular soul groups in that sense that do work together with animal kingdoms? Yes, of course. But they also interline and intermingle with other soul groups as well, from the first density, from the third density, and from the fourth density. So they all intertwine, they all intermingle. It doesn't mean that they're cut off and that they're separate. It's simply representing the idea that all beings that are contained within second density are interrelated in regards to this particular soul group that are also commingling and working together with all other density, coherent life that is applicably open on your planet. That's how it operates. It's not to say that even a masterful individual that had a very spiritually fulfilling life, that decided to pass this plane from the human body, can only come back in regards to the third density again. That is not the understanding. You have many spiritually fulfilling masters that have actually decided to come back in animal form. That's how they can operate. But because we are explaining this on a linear-based consciousness, there are many entities, not all, but there are many entities upon your planet that actually have compliant, coplanar lives existing within your own timeline right now, as you would understand it, that are functioning as different life forms. The whole idea here is that the entities can, shall we say, split their consciousness and actually bring themselves into different animal consciousness, different elemental consciousness, different vegetation consciousness, human consciousness, etc., all at the same time. This also applies to where soul is able to abridge itself through these splits to actually have multiple incarnations upon the same density plane, where there could be other aspects of your souls existing in other dimensions, coplanar to that of what you would know as your now moment. What you would consider to be, shall we say, more so appropriate, your present moment, relating to timeline. They can all share that plane. This is why some of you are able to actually meet another person and you swear you're just talking to yourself. In a way, you both share the same soul essence. That's basically what's happening. It is not uncommon, in most cases, for identical twins to literally just be one soul essence. For one soul essence to incarnate itself as two particular beings, experiencing different themes compliant to the personality of those identical twins, who may be openly telepathic. It is a wondrous world. It is a wondrous experience that you're a part of. As you get to understand more about what is contained upon your planet, you will really be excited of what is all here, of the type of beings that are on your world. As they start to open themselves up and realize the potential they have as an incarnate, they are then wondrous about what they have been going through and what they are experiencing, and sharing that with others to create that further wonder. Again, all part of their experience. When a being decides to retire from the body, we simply refer to it as bodily retirement. That's all it is, really, because life continues. There is only life. Then that being decides, exactly as we talked about before relating to repopulation, go wherever they decide they are vibrationally compatible to explore with. These can be spiritual cities. These can be other realms of, shall we say, existence, other planes of consciousness, all depending upon their vibration. So again, many beings are coming and going all the time. There are beings who are inbound and there are beings who are outbound. That's just how things work. That's how the game operates. There really are no restrictions pertaining to what one can be on your planet in regards to what is available through unlocked or open densities, as well as beings that fit the part. Because you are really looking at this as a casting session. Through your own acting, through your own films, through your own plays. It really is no different. If you're the part that matches, you can then synchronistically come upon the earth as anything you wish that is open through the densities that are conjuncted together with your world. That's how it operates. That's simply what is. It really doesn't matter if you feel that something else is there, because again, these particular beings are coming here and they're proving it through themselves. That's how it operates. That's how it works. All right? We thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis from Sirius. Thank you very much. Please remember that everything that we share within these videos, within these transmissions, are simply that of our perspective, our point of view. For all knowledge, all information, all creation itself resides within your very heart, being, and soul. Allow your truth to guide you in regards to your own uniqueness that you naturally have. Thank you very much, and we now return to the conduit. Goodbye for now. Thank you very much. Namaste.